The idea that we're working with is, everybody say with me, this is my time. Now, if we're dealing with the Zen of our teaching, we recognize that everything that has been is over and everything that will be is not here yet. So what we need to pay attention to, as the great, the good, the wise, both east and west have taught, is what? Everybody say with me, now. What are you doing now? You've heard me share with you before that over and over again, people will come up and say, well, I wish I was 20 years old and know what I know now. And, of course, my answer to that is, what are you doing now, what you know now? What are you doing now with the information you have in your heart and mind? Are you letting it become your way? Are you letting it move forth as your total experience? I thought we would celebrate as we do, and I love the fact that we're doing the experience of Charles Fillmore and Myrtle. We're doing Charles Fillmore for our Wednesday night experiences in the month of January, and the Great New Thought Teachers, which we're going to do a whole series about. But this morning I gave you a handout, and it's one that I found from a former president of religious science, and that is Dr. Kennedy Schultz, who was my dear friend. I was his sponsor. I was vice president of Religious Science International when he was president. We had many experiences together, and probably the best thing that he ever accomplished was the fact that he was Reverend Cynthia's teacher. And so she was in Atlanta, and he started and built the Atlanta Church of Religious Science there. Dr. Schultz, and I will share, you have a copy of it, but I will share this for the YouTube. Everybody say, good morning, YouTube. Anyhow, YouTube, this is the way it goes. Dr. Schultz says, we're too smart to be stupid. Many people are taken aback by the direct approach so many of our ministers and practitioners use in talking to them about their problems and how to get them straightened out. They are used to being dealt with in a more indirect and softly. Sometimes I think they would rather be soothed than healed. How many know people would rather be soothed than healed? Oh, you poor thing. If you ever go to a practitioner who says, oh, you poor thing, get up and go find another practitioner. Because what they're doing is they just slipped over into sympathy. How many know if you become sympathetic with something, you've just become part of the problem? What you need to do is practice empathy. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means I do care, but I know there's an answer. So let's deal with the fact that it's okay to say, ouch. Now let's move out of the pain into what? The freedom from pain. To move out of the confusion, out of the doubt, out of the fear. Dr. Schultz said, the direct approach we take is a sign of something greater than compassion. It is a sign of recognition of the essential intelligence of all people, even badly problemed ones, even ones who are down and out. Compassion is fine, but it's not dynamic. That is, it doesn't get things going in a better direction. Recognition of the essential intelligence does. Everyone say, I'm smarter than I think I am. I have more creativity than I think I have. More intelligence than I think I have. More possibility than I think I have. Say, who is it, AT&T? It says, rethink the possible. See? How many have allowed yourselves, since you found this teaching, to rethink the possible in your own life and prove that what you were was only the starting point of where you can be? That everything we have been has led us to this point, and if we can look at this point where we are right now and appreciate what we know we are, a mighty moving power of infinite intelligence and action, if we know that is true and we know it, then everything in our life is what we had to go through to get us to this point where we can know we know it. Where we can allow ourselves to realize that if I had missed one moment of my life, I wouldn't be here now. Okay. See, I thought the other night when we were all gathered and everybody was here and it was just, we were having a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I thought to myself, if 35 years ago I had gone someplace else, none of us would be here. You'd all be somewhere else. It'd probably be wonderful and beautiful as it is here, but you would be somewhere else. So what happens in your next decision is going to influence things, what? That you don't even see yet, that you don't even know yet. Dr. Fenwick Holmes said to me once that, he said, the wonderful thing about being a religious science minister, if you can touch the life of one person and wake them up to a greater possibility of their experience, then what happens at that moment is you've just set in motion a chain reaction that will touch the lives of thousands of people because of that one person, because of that one idea. Dr. Schultz says our teaching is predicated upon the recognition that people are wiser than their dilemma, saner than their confusion, and never beyond the reach of intelligent thought. This means the start of all our healing must be the recognition of the new and better idea, and the sooner, the better. The sooner, the better. How many put off your greater good? I'll get around to it tomorrow, okay? Put off your answer, put off your happiness, put off your love, put off your whatever it is. Now is the time. I know Reverend Lacey, one of his favorite quotes is, this is the day the Lord has made, and I'm glad and I rejoice in it. This is the day the law has made. This is the day that my thinking is creating. Why? Because my thinking is creating every day I'm in. Isn't that what Ralph Waldo Emerson meant when he said, you are what you think about? How long? All day long. Everybody say, all day long. This is why we need to think about what we think about, which we teach here all the time. And we can do this if we let go and let it happen. I have a handout that I gave you this morning from Dr. Ernest Holmes. We set our own limitation. Let me share the words of Dr. Ernest Holmes is the founder of religious science. If you're here for the first time, Dr. Holmes said, do we desire to live in a world peopled with friends who love us, surrounded by things beautiful and pleasing? How many are ready to go along with that? Raise your hand. All right. There is but one way, and this way is as certain as the sun shines. Daily, we must control all thought that denies the real, affirm the divine presence within us. Then, as the mist disappears before the sun, so shall adversity melt before the shining radiance of our exhausted thought. Now, if you want to prove you can't change for the better, I got news for you. You'll prove it. And if you want to prove that Murphy's Law is your way, which means that if it can go wrong, it will, you'll prove it. Why? Because anything you believe in and hold to that belief, you will prove to yourself. This is why every denomination and every church that's meeting this morning and every religion on this planet is proving what they say they believe to themselves, because their belief is outpicturing as experience. We as religious scientists are able to do what? Find the golden thread that binds them all together and say, why do they all work? Not why does one of them work and this one doesn't. Everybody say nobody has a copyright on truth.